The Toronto Raptors showcased at the trade deadline to their fans and the rest of the NBA that they have an intent on winning games this season and aren't satisfied with rolling over and focusing on the draft lottery. So in today's video, we're going to see how that decision may pay off and just how far this team can really go this NBA season. Let's get into it. What's going on, NBA and Raptors fans? It's Jacob here, back with Amateur Hour TV. This is the second channel in the Amateur Hour production network, and on this channel, we go through additional NBA-related content, especially concerning the Toronto Raptors, that I just do not have enough time to get to on the main channel, but want to get to it, so we do it on this channel where the vibes are a little bit less formal, and I can be a little bit more of myself for these videos, and we still talk about the Raptors content that you want to see. If you enjoy what you see from today's video, hit that like button, and if you want more content just like it, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join the Amateur Hour Army on the second channel. Help us on the road to 2,000 subs. But we're going to look across the NBA standings today. We'll go through the Eastern Conference first of all and focus specifically on the Toronto Raptors. But I also want to put a keen eye on the Western Conference just to kind of see where I feel the balance of powers truly are, who I see going to the finals, really making a push and a legitimate candidacy to actually get to those NBA finals, and who might win the NBA championship. But first of all, we're going to discuss the Toronto Raptors here. So at the trade deadline, the wide expectation from fans and everyone in the league was that the Raptors were going to be a selling team. But apparently, leading up to the deadline, that was just all noise. And it was a quiet deadline for the Raptors, who were pretty content with what they had. I mean, they were shopping around OG Anunoby. The right deal was not forthcoming. There may have been a question from the Clippers about Fred VanVleet. A bad trade was offered by the Los Angeles Clippers. And ultimately, the Raptors held firm with their core. And in fact, contrary to the belief that they were going to be sellers, they were buyers by adding in Jakob Poeltl at the deadline for 2 seconds and a first-round pick, top 6 protected for next season. So it seems that tanking, it seems that going towards the bottom of the pack, strengthening your lottery odds, is no longer going to be an option. I mean, the vibe from the team since the start of the season, even amidst the struggles, the team is out there to win games. Nick Nurse is trying to coach this team to win games, and there's never been, resting guys or fake injuries or any real notion that this team wants to tank. Some of the bad performances I've been asked and by some of the supporters of Amateur Hour, they've said maybe they're already tanking. I think the team was just really bad. And we don't know what this team is going to be post-trade deadline. We've had 3 games. We had that really, really ugly loss to the Utah Jazz, but then 2 wins as well, and 1 game against Orlando where Jakob Poeltl, the new acquisition, was excellent. So just how far can this team go this season? So we'll pull up the NBA standings for the Eastern Conference here. We're focusing on the play-in positions. How far can the Raptors go? I guess ideally you want to avoid the play-in positions altogether. So looking at the way things are panning out, I think Indiana are going to continue to fall. I think Chicago have so many problems. I mean, they've lost 6 in a row. They can't be ignored, though. However, I feel the Raptors will have a stronger end of the season than the Bulls. Raptors have 23 games remaining. Already 2 games up on them as well. I think we're better than the Wizards. We're a half game back. I think we'll have a better record than them to end the season. Atlanta haven't really been convincing all season. This is just about what they've been all year. They had 1 minor win streak, but that's something that's not really scaring me there. Miami might be a little bit too far for the Raptors to go, as the Miami Heat kind of strengthen from their injuries and really bog down for the rest of the season. That's going to be a difficult team to catch. But realistically, I can see the Raptors putting themselves in a position where they're hosting a play-in game. Getting out of those spots, New York looked good. I got to say, New York looked good. I can't see them falling out of a top 6 position. Brooklyn, I can see it, but I think they're too far ahead of the Raptors at this point where they've got a 6.5 game advantage on us. That's going to be really difficult for the Raptors to overcome. 23 games remaining. Even getting to 500 is going to be a struggle. I can see us doing it, and in doing so, that might get us to a spot where we are the 8th seed. Realistically, we're probably looking at the 8th or 9th seed in the Eastern Conference. We're going to be either hosting a play-in game where you got to win and you're in, or you got to win 2 games in a row as a team playing away in both of those games. So as far as, my ideal spot for the Raptors this season, The play-in position was probably the worst spot. I'd rather be closer to the bottom for a draft pick or closer to the top for a competitive playoff series. It doesn't look like that is going to be the case. An added insult to injury, I guess, of that play-in position is that, well, if you win in the play-in tournament, you get either these guys or these guys in the first round. Love the Raptors. Love this team. Want them to win when they're there. But I'd be surprised if they won any more than one game in that playoff series. They may be even fortunate to win a game against the Celtics or Milwaukee, the way both of those teams are playing. That's the reality. Not one that I fully support for direction, but it's one the front office decided to go with. That is what we are facing. So you know what? I'm a fan. Let's go win as many games as possible for the rest of the season. As I was saying for the top of the Eastern Conference, I see Boston, Milwaukee running the show there. The 76ers are a good team, and it's kind of unfair to disregard them in comparison to the Bucks and the Celtics, but there's just been so many occasions where we've seen the Sixers falter. Not usually as a result, not really at all as a result of Joel Embiid, but we've seen Harden in playoff series where, like Game 6 against Miami last year, where they needed James Harden. They needed him. And he barely got the ball. And after the game, when he was questioned why he barely got the ball, he said, the ball didn't really come to me. You're James Harden. You're getting paid that much money. You are an all-star caliber player. I think you should have been an all-star this year. You force the ball to come to yourself. And you're a point guard. You command the ball. You take the ball. But that's just not what happened from him. So I cannot put my faith in the Sixers, given their track record in recent memory. And also the fact that they're going to have to run into one of these juggernauts in the Bucks or Celtics in order to get to the third round, the conference finals. Best case for them is getting Cavaliers second round, but to do that, they'd probably have to win the Eastern Conference, not likely, or the Cavs would have to do it, or they'd have to finish 2-3. I think the most likely scenario is they have to go through one of Milwaukee or Boston to get to the finals, or to the conference finals. The same would go for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have definitely surprised me this season, the way that they have really taken it to another level with such a young team. But the inexperience of that team, I think, is going to be part of their downfall. And it's just a fact that I just don't think they have enough to take on the Celtics or Bucks in a 7-game series. It would not completely bewilder and shock me if they beat one of those teams. But I think, at this point, from what I've seen, the Bucks and Celtics getting better at the deadline as well. Cavaliers, they added in Danny Green, but I don't know how big of a difference that's going to make. I think the Bucks and Celtics win that series in 6. So, as far as the balance of powers in the East, it's the showdown between the Bucks and the Celtics. Again, kind of what it was like last season, even though it was in a conference semifinals. But I'm hoping for more exciting stuff from those two teams. As it goes to the Western Conference, this is where it can be a little bit more compact here. I think Denver are just going to run away with it still. They're 5 games up in the second place Memphis Grizzlies. You have to expect the Phoenix Suns to make a run here. They're going to be a top 3 team. They're going to be a 2 or 3 team, I believe. The Memphis Grizzlies have enough of a cushion where they can just continue to tread water and they might get over the line here. Kevin Durant is not healthy yet. We don't know when he will be healthy. And you can't say there won't be any sort of adjustment period to adding in. Even though Kevin Durant is sensational, we know how good this team is. Yes, that starting 5 is going to be absolutely elite. They're not just going to put it together in one game. So I don't know if they're going to have enough to be a top 2 team, but top 3 team, I can see that. The Clippers, man, they really needed to commit to getting a point guard at the deadline. They just didn't. Yes, they added in Russ. Yes, they added in Bones, but is Bones Highland the type of point guard this team needs? No. Is Russell Westbrook the type of point guard this team needs? No. People are saying the Clippers needed a facilitator, and some are saying they got it in Westbrook. No, they did not get it in Westbrook. They did not get it in Westbrook. And I think it's an improvement on what they had, but I just don't think this team is equipped enough for that long playoff run to get to the finals, which is ultimately the goal for this team. Yes, they got to a conference finals before. Getting to a finals, I don't know if they have the stuff there. Dallas will improve with Kyrie, but, the West is so good at this point. Sacramento's a team I see falling out here. I can see Sacramento falling all the way into the play-in spots. It's just that competitive right now. I expect a better finish to the season for the Timberwolves. I think the Pelicans will continue to kind of stay in the mix here. It's going to be a really tough Western Conference playoffs. There are Nuggets, Grizzlies, Clippers, Suns, Mavericks. You'd have to say the Warriors as well, based on, coming off that NBA championship. You could even argue the Pelicans are a team that feel like they are good enough to get to a conference finals here. 7 teams likely thinking they're good enough to get to a conference final. That's not even including the Kings, so I think understand who they are. 7 feel like they may be good enough to get to a conference finals. 3 of them are going to lose in the first round. One of them may not even make the playoffs if they lose in the play-in tournament. So there's going to be a lot of disappointed fan bases and teams coming through the Western Conference. And that's not adding in the Lakers, who I think will be good enough to get into a play-in spot. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder may fall off a little bit. The Jazz as well. Portland, I don't trust. I trust the Lakers more than them. I can see the Lakers moving into this spot. I mean, Nuggets and Grizzlies or the Suns won't want to play the Lakers first round. But I see that as a victory for either of those teams. But the Lakers as well, I mean, they probably don't even feel like they're a first-round exit team at this point. That's what the fan base certainly has to think. So 4 teams who think they are well more and truly good enough to get beyond the first round aren't going to do that. But as it comes to the deeper spots in the playoffs, I trust Denver. I trust Phoenix. Phoenix, I'll have to see a little bit more of this team, but oh my goodness, the motions they can run on offense, the schemes they can run on offense with those guys, Durant, Paul, Booker, and even Ayton, I struggle to see Denver being able to combat that. But I feel like Denver have been such a well-oiled machine this season at 41 wins already that they are saving stuff for the playoffs. And they are saving stuff, I believe, for potentially that collision with the Phoenix Suns in a hypothetical conference final. So this is Denver's year. The West is open here. It's less open because of Kevin Durant, but this has to be Denver's time to shine. Jokic on track to win a 3rd MVP. I'm very much hoping the coaching staff, for somebody who just kind of enjoys, I guess, seeing a team like that reach their potential just for the excitement factor, I really want to believe the coaching staff has something that they've not shown the NBA this season. They're ready to throw into the playoffs to get that team where it should be this season as the runaway first seed right now in the NBA's Western Conference. But Raptors-wise, going back to them, it'd be a miracle to finish outside of a playing position in terms of making the playoffs. I just think the team is too good right now and competition is too weak for us not to make the play-in tournament altogether. Regardless of your thoughts on where the Raptors should be, that's likely where we are going to be. And that's all there is to it. My finals pick this season, I'm going to go with the Bucks. I'm going to stick with my preseason prediction that they're going to win the championship. It's hard for me to avoid the Phoenix Suns. I'm going to go with the Phoenix Suns. Easy. Nothing crazy about my picks, but that's how I see it. Let's see how it all plays out. Maybe we revisit this at the end of the season. Thank you so much for tuning into this one on Amateur Hour TV. Around my head are the other channels in the Amateur Hour Production Network: Amateur Hour Sports, Raptor-specific content, Amateur Hour Bets, my educational betting content, and Amateur Hour Clips. Best highlights from our live streams on YouTube on the main channel. Get subscribed to those. Get subscribed to this channel and drop a like if you did enjoy. We'll see you again next time for another video on Amateur Hour TV.